This is Manjunath VK, assistant teacher of social science, Adarsh Vidyalaya, Chalkar. Dear students, through the WhatsApp, we already learned so many things. In history part, we already completed 5 chapters. First chapter is Advent of Europeans to India. Second one is the extinction of British rule in India. The third one is impact of British rule in India. And we skip fourth chapter. And the fifth one is the social and religious reform movements. We already completed that lesson. And the sixth one is first war of Indian independence. We've already completed the first war of Indian independence. Students, I came with a new idea. So I prepared a PPT about a lesson for you. So through the PPT, I will explain the lesson. Okay. So shall we start the seventh lesson, the freedom movement. Under this chapter, we are going to learn the rise of nationalism, Indian National Congress, moderates, radicals, and revolutionaries. The rise of nationalism. Dear students, we already know the meaning of nationalism. We come across about nationalism in our previous class. It means ninth standard. Can you remember the meaning of nationalism? Yes, your guess is correct. So nationalism is strong feeling towards a nation that we are all one. So Indian freedom movement is an important and vibrant chapter in the history of India. So our country invaded so many times by the foreigners. From Persians to British. But British ruled over our country about 200 years. So in this time, they exploited in so many ways. So our leaders fought against the British. So why this is different from other countries? Because we adopted the non-violent methods to got our freedom. That is why it is a very important chapter in the history of India. Before this, we come across kings who fought against the foreign occupation. So from the Mauryas, so many rulers fought against the foreign invaders. Some of the rulers are successful, and some of the rulers were failure in that act. But these fights were guided by their political goals. Since they fought against the foreign occupation, it can be considered as the beginning of nationalism. So the king lost their kingdom, so they fight against a foreign occupation. So that has a political goal. So we can call it as the beginning of nationalism. During the second half of 19th century, many developments like expansion of communication and roads, expansion of English education, journalism, and the birth of cultural associations can be witnessed. So after the second half of 19th century, the British introduced so many developments in India, like expansion of communication and roads, expansion of English education. So they implemented English education. So why they implemented English education? We already know in the impact of British rule in India. So they wanted the staff, so which are useful to administer India. And then journalism also started, and the birth of cultural associations can be witnessed. So many associations were formed during the second half of 19th century. But people suffered a lot with the famines and hardships created by the British rule. In the British rule, the Indians were exploited in so many ways. Many farmers and tribal agitations that took place during this period is a proof of this. So here we mention the Alagali Bedas revolt, farmers revolt, Mundas revolt. So all of these are the proof of the nationalism. Indians who suffered in the hands of East India Company put up a strong resistance in the form of First War of Indian Independence in 1857. The British established their political supremacy over India through the Battle of Plassey in 1757. So the 100 years of British rule created so many hardships, famines to the Indians. So the Indians organized a revolt in 1857. We already come across about this 1857 revolt in the previous lesson. The picture shows the farmers and tribal agitations and the Munda agitation. As a result of it ended the rule of East India Company in 1858 and started the rule of the Queen of England in 1858. So in the previous lesson, the 1857 revolt, it means the first war of Indian independence. So in the impact of 1857 revolt, we know that in 1857 the rule of East India Company has been handed. The Britain government took over the administration of our country directly. So the King of England became the emperor of our country in 1858. With the implementation of Act of 1861, the participation of Indians in the legislation process was ushered in. After starting ruling our country, the British implemented so many rules and regulations, acts in India. Among them, the 1861 Act is more important because through this act, they gave chance to the Indians to participate in the process of making laws. It means legislative process. As a result of all this, the educated youth started sharing the idea of nationalism with ordinary people. Nationalism found its root as a concrete concept. Students, so we already know that British implemented English education in India for their purpose. So who got English education? They know the things which around them. So they knew the literature, in so many different languages, and they know the freedom movements which took place worldwide. So, who got this knowledge? They educate the other people. So, this is the nationalism found in its root as a concrete concept. So, Indian National Congress is the institutional expression of this. So, in 1885, Indian National Congress has been founded. So, this is the institutional expression of the initial nationalism. Many educated youth provided leadership to various associations which had nationalistic outlook. Among them, the Hindu Mela, All Indian Association, Pune Public Sabha, and the Indian Association are important. So before the formation of Indian National Congress, there were so many associations which had nationalistic ideas. Among them, the Hindu Mela, All Indian Association, Pune Public Sabha, and Indian Association are more important. Newspapers opposed the stance of the government. During reign of Lord Lytton, Vernacular Press Act was implemented to curb the independence of the independent press. So many newspapers were emerged in this time. So the freedom fighters published revolutionary articles in the newspapers. So this resulted in the widespread agitations against the British. So when Lord Lytton became the Governor General of India, so he implemented an act to curb the independence of independent press. That is called Vernacular Press Act. According to this act, the British may arrest any journalist without any prior notice and put in to the jail. All this development inevitably led to the establishment of Indian National Congress. The picture, Lord Lytton. The Indian National Congress, which changed the direction of Indian political history, was born in a national convention held at Bombay in 1885. So, where the first convention of Indian National Congress was held? In Bombay. And when? In 1885. Dear students, it is more important. A question will arise. So, when was the first convention of Indian National Congress has been held? So, that is 1885. W.C. Banerjee was its first president. Who was the first president of Indian National Congress? That is most important. W.C. Banerjee. Eva Hume played an important role in the formation of Indian National Congress. See, Eva Hume is a British retired officer. He supported Indians to form Indian National Congress. The picture is W.C. Banerjee. The picture shows the Indian National Congress first convention held at Bombay in 1885. Hume was a retired British civil servant and met political leaders in cities like Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta and discussed the various issues of public importance. So, a question will arise: who was the founder of Indian National Congress? The answer is A.O. Hume. A.O. stands for Alan Octavian Hume. Main objectives of Indian National Congress. As a result of these deliberations, the Congress declared that achieving national unity as its primary aim during its first national convention. Which is the primary aim of Indian National Congress? The answer is achieving national unity. The next point is it thrived to achieve unity among the diverse cultural and social parts of India. The leaders of this period also had the commitment to achieve it. See, India is diversified country. It has so many culture. The people here speaking so many languages and following so many religions. So it is a diversified country. So among all these diversities, so we have to unite Indians. This is the main goal of Indian National Congress. The leaders of this period also had the commitment to achieve it. And it means achieve national unity. Newspapers were published in vernacular language and enabled discussion on various social issues. Vernacular means here native languages. It means local languages. So many newspapers were started in local languages, and many leaders published articles in newspapers. As a result, various political issues reached the people. So who read all these newspapers, they come across the various political issues. The British employed divide and rule policy to break the unity emerging among the people with the development of nationalism. Divide and rule policy is the major policy of British, which was implemented earlier. They implemented divide and rule policy to break the unity of Indians. They started implementing strategies to cause disunity among Hindus and Muslims. So this is a main strategy of the British. If Hindus and Muslims being united, it is difficult to rule our country. If we make a disunity among Hindus and Muslims, it is easy to administer our country. This is a strategy of the British. Still, the Indian National Congress continued with its focus on creating unity among Indians. So many Muslim leaders became the members of Indian National Congress also. During the later part of 19th century, difference of opinions arose in the Indian National Congress. So in the Indian National Congress, after the later part of 19th century, a difference of opinion arose between the members. Due to their differences in ideology, beliefs and execution styles, they are identified as moderates and radicals. The Indian National Congress now divided into two categories, moderates and radicals. The first group is moderates, who are called moderates, and which period is called as the age of moderates. Initially, the first 20 years after the establishment of Indian National Congress is termed as the age of moderates. It means 1885 to 1905. So among the moderates, W.C. Banerjee, M.G. Ranade, Surendranath Banerjee, Dadabhai Naoroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale are most important. So here I posted some pictures of W.C. Banerjee, M.G. Ranade, Surendranath Banerjee, Dadabhai Naoroji and Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So moderates put demands in front of the British. So which are their demands? Moderates had faith in the rule of British and judiciary. Moderates wanted the British only rule our country, but they may give some exemptions to the Indians. They used to table their demands with the framework of the Constitution through prayers and requests. The British may rule our country, but they gave some exemptions. They will develop our country. They try to bring in political awareness among the people. They organized public meetings, discussed various burning issues, and submitted memorandums to the government. The moderate leaders organized some public meetings and discussed the various burning issues of our country and submitted memorandums and requisitions to the British. They submitted memorandums demanding cutting down of military expenditure. The British expanded more and more on military. The moderates demanded to cut down the military expenditure. And the second demand is development of Indian industries. British were neglecting the development of industries. They only concentrated on their industries. It means industries in England. The moderates now demanded to develop the Indian industries. Providing good education. And the fourth one is programs for poverty alleviation. The poverty is the most important problem on those days. The moderates demanded to alleviate poverty. Moderates were the first to study the ill effects of the British rule on India. So, through the drain theory, they described how the resources drained to the England from India. They explained the drain of resources of India into England through scientific statistics. Dadabhai Naoroji called it drain theory. Who propagated drain theory? Dadabhai Naoroji propagated drain theory. By increasing the import and reducing the export, the British facilitated the draining out of precious Indian resources into India. So the British increased the imports. It means imports from England and reducing the exports. Exports means from India. They grabbed our all the resources of India and exported to England, and there they converted the raw materials into ready-made goods, and they imported the ready-made goods to India, and they sold their ready-made goods here. It means we are exploited in two ways. They grabbed our resources, that is one way, and our country became the market to their ready-made goods. So by these two ways, we are exploited more and more. Our country's wealth drained to the England. Now India became a poor country. The picture shows Dadabhai Naoroji. Just like Dadabhai Naoroji, R.C. Dutt too published books explaining the draining of Indian resources into England. As like Dadabhai Naoroji, R.C. Dutt also published books explaining the draining of Indian resources into England. The period of moderates is called as the age of liberal nationalism. The period between 1885 CE and 1905 is called as the age of moderates. Students, here some questions will be raised in. The first one is which age is called as the age of liberal nationalism? Answer is the period of moderates is called as the age of liberal nationalism. The next question is which period is called as the age of moderates? The period between 1885 CE and 1905 is called as the age of moderates. And the next group is radicals. The soft stance of the moderates towards the British made unhappy group within the Congress to call them as political beggars. So in the Congress, so many leaders were young in age. They opposed the way of moderates. They called the moderates as political beggars. The radicals now opposed the soft stance of the moderates. The group congressmen who criticized the soft stance of moderates are called as radicals. Who are called as radicals? The group of congressmen who criticized the soft stance of moderates are called as radicals. So, among radicals, Arvind Ghosh, Bipin Chandrapal, Lala Lajpat Rai, and Balagangadhar Tilak are the main members. So, we can remember radicals as Lal Bal Pal. Lal, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal, Balagangadhar Tilak, Pal stands for Bipin Chandrapal. And we can add Aravind Ghosh also. They opposed the stance of the British who considered nominating the Indian members to Indian legislative assemblies as an important favor. Arvind Ghosh, Bipin Chandrapal, Lala Lajpat Rai and Balagangadhar Tilak. So the division of Bengal. Division of Bengal is the most important incident in the history of Indian freedom struggle. The anti-British sentiment was dominant in Bengal and it was the center of anti-British protests. So Bengal became the main center of anti-British protests. In order to suppress these developments, Viceroy Lord Curzon thought of dividing Bengal in the name of administration. Lord Curzon thought that if we divide the Bengal, so it is easy to create a disunity among Hindus and Muslims. In reality, Bengal had more concentration of Muslim and Hindu people. So in the picture, Lord Curzon is there. So this map is the free independent map of India. The census report had indicated that the east part of Bengal had more members of Muslims and the west part of Bengal had more members of Hindus. A census report indicated that the eastern part of Bengal has more Muslims, the western part of Bengal has most Hindus. The British divided Bengal in 1905. Lord Curzon divided Bengal in 1805 and he gave administration causes for that. Like this, the British thought of suppressing the spirit of national freedom struggle with the division of Bengal. The division of Bengal in 1805 was opposed by Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress opposed the division of Bengal. Still, the Bengali language could unite the Hindu and Muslim communities. British thought that if we divided the Bengal, so it is easy to create disunity among Hindus and Muslims. But still, the Bengali language could unite the Hindus and Muslims there. Raksha Bandhana cultural festival was held to bring in unity among Hindus and Muslims. So by celebrating some festivals, the unity being created in Bengal. The division of Bengal resulted in the widespread protests across the country. Not only in the Bengal, but also all over India, there was widespread agitations were started against the division of Bengal. So it is called as Vanga Banga movement. The radicals took the issues to the doorsteps of common people by writing articles in the newspapers and deliberating lectures. The radicals took the issue of division of Bengal to the doorsteps of the common people. They called for boycotting of foreign goods and the institutions that encourage it. Radicals called the people to boycott the foreign goods and buy the Indian goods. That is called a Swadeshi movement. Indians were encouraged to use local goods. The British government withdrew the Bengal Division Order in 1911. By all these developments, agitations, protests, the British now withdrew the order of Bengal Division in 1911. Students, here I stop the lesson. We will continue the next class. So here are some questions for you. Note the questions. Which period is called as Age of Moderates? Who are called as moderates? Who called moderates as political beggars? Which is called as Age of Liberal Nationalism? Name the important moderates. Who are called as radicals? Name the important radicals leaders. Which are the demands of moderates? What is the role of radicals in freedom movement? What are the reasons for the division of Bengal? And finally, what are the reasons for withdrawal of division of Bengal?